Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming to see today's edition of Homepreneurs.net Daily Post, or most days post. This one is done in an audio and visual format as opposed to the typical text and image format that you're used to seeing. The reason why is because this is instructional, it's much easier to do in a video than it is to type and place images on the screen. We indicated in an earlier post here that your website needs a sitemap, and it really does. The sitemap helps both people, visitors, that is, your visitors or clients, and the internet search engines browse or crawl, quote unquote, your website. So digitally speaking, Bing and Google and Yahoo are going to use your sitemap to see how your site is structured. So Google's here, for instance. You can see that Google's links out to Google News, Google Maps, Google Preferences, Advanced Search, Images, just like you're used to seeing with Google, but this is a graphical representation of how Google's sitemap and Google's website is set up. We're going to do this using WordPress, a WordPress template or theme. A theme is what you would put on top of or put into the web host company that you're using. So mine happens to be, when I chose, it doesn't have to be by WordPress, incidentally, but WordPress is a very common one, so this is why I'm using it for this particular presentation. The theme I'm using for this particular website is called WP or WordPerfect CreativeX by this gentleman. He probably does it for more than just WordPress, and that's hence the WP. He may do it for other companies as well. WordPress does many things. WordPress is a blog site, it's a host, it also supplies these themes, it supplies support. So WordPress does many things. In order to do our sitemap here, we're going to go, you've probably, or if you're using WordPress themes, you're familiar with the dashboard, and you'll recognize these various different categories. The first thing we have to do is install a plugin. So we're going to go to Add New under Plugin. Dashboard's at the top. You go to Plugins, Add New. You'll end up with a little search engine here, or search plugins. What you want to type in is Sitemap. Enter or search plugins, either or. Achieves the same results. And you'll receive a number of different results because there are a lot of sitemaps available out there. I suggest that you use, for purposes of this, the Google XML sitemap. Now you can see that mine already says installed. If you don't have one and you're planning to, it will say install now. I just installed mine ahead of time, again for this video, but choose the Google XL sitemaps, or if you prefer another one, that's fine. Just click on install now. So we know ours is installed. We'll go to install plugins after that, since we just did install it. We're going to have to activate it after we install it. So we're going to have to look at all the plugins, and you can see all the plugins I have. Plugins are little programs that run in addition to major software programs. Adobe Flash Player is a good example of a plugin. For WordPress, there are a variety of different plugins. You have one for social bookmarking, if you're using social media sites. Akismet, or Akismet, however you want to pronounce it, is a spam catcher. So that's a good thing to have. There's a Facebook one, the contact form that you would see, that's a handy one to have. But the one you're looking for here is the Google XML sitemaps, and make sure that it should say activate. It'd be activate and edit. So go ahead and click on the activate button, please. After it's activated, it may just take a few seconds. You're going to go to settings, which is a little bit underneath plugins. Here, plugins, down to settings. And in settings, go to XML sitemap. You should see it installed there. If it's not, make sure that it's activated for one. In a worst case scenario, just uninstall it or deactivate it, uninstall it, and reinstall it. So go to XML sitemap. After you click that, you will see a screen like this where it says XML sitemap generator for WordPress. This is what you're interested in. Your sitemap was last built on, well, I did mine today, so you will see that. Click on that little hyperlinked sitemap and you will see this. This is essentially what we saw with Google. It links to, now Google's has their set up a little differently. I don't have that many pages. I just use one central page in essence, whereas Google uses many pages. But you can see many of these recent posts that I've done. So for instance, how to make your first 100 as a freelance writer, or using AdSense to make money for a blog. There's also your website needs a sitemap. If I were to click on any of these, these are links to the actual programs that I did. Or not programs, but posts that I did, I'm sorry. Click to highlight, right click, and copy. You're going to want that. We're going to go over to Google. All right, we'll just open up a new tab here. I've already done it. And you're going to do Google Webmaster Tools. Just type in the browser over here, Google Webmaster Tools, and search for it. And then log yourself in with your domain name and your password. Once you get in there, you will see this. You'll see your website listed on top, or blog. Either or is appropriate. Click on your website name. Okay? Under this, you'll see a whole bunch of interesting information here on the left. Some of these we'll talk about at another time, but for today, click on Crawl. Under Crawl, go down to Sitemaps. Click on Sitemaps. The sitemap should be automatically added. You shouldn't need to do anything. If it isn't, then just click on Add, and you can proceed to put in that what you just copied. You can paste it in here. Control V is a way to paste it, but you have to get rid of the. You don't want to duplicate the name, so you just have to go with sitemap.xml or whatever yours happens to be named. Submit it after you've done that. Then you want to test it. So click on Test. Well, mine's empty because I had already done it, so it's not happy about that. But you can test your sitemap to make sure that it comes up, everything's okay. And I just click on mine, Test Sitemap. This would be the same thing as you would do. Then we view our test result, and you can see over here that we have no errors found with our sitemap and 600 web pages submitted. Why is that important? Well, that 600 just so happens, if we go back to the original page here and I look at my posts, I go to all posts, that would be all posts I've done historically, and it will tell me there are 597. Add 3 pages, which my website has, to that 597, and I get 600, which is the same number as we see over here. So the pages and the posts should add up the same in both sides. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you add in a sitemap. After that, everything else should be automated and there's nothing additional that needs to be done. Again, thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.